All right, it's on. Hi guys, welcome to this recording of. I won't include this bit. Don't worry. I'll cut it out.
Ag Chats with Scotty Graham.
Ag chats, yeah. So you guys finished ag at Barker a few years ago, and you all ended up going to uni to do ag. You all went to Sydney Uni. So what degree did you all do? Celine, do you want to start first?
Yeah, so the three of us, we all did a Bachelor of Food and Agribusiness at the University of Sydney. So we all commenced that degree in 2017 and graduated in 2020.
So a few people at school, Celine, will know you from your study notes, which are still being used quite heavily. So I'm passing on my thanks from the people.
I've heard this.
But what did you like? What made you kind of choose ag in the first place? I know I'm asked Celine first because I know you told me before that you were like, oh, it was kind of a pretty random choice for me, but it was a really good decision. So yeah, what kind of was the thinking behind choosing ag when you at school? Celine first.
Yeah, so initially during high school, I was thinking of going down more of a sports science physio career path, but I was lucky enough to be offered a scholarship to study agriculture at Sydney. So it was called the Agriculture Undergraduate Merit Scholarship. So that's just for academic performance in year 12 in subjects like ag. So getting that scholarship was a real push factor, and it made me consider it a bit more and consider the career path that I could go down. And then, yeah, I went with it, and it was a really good decision.
Matt, what made you choose ag at school and then uni?
Yeah, I think similar to Celine and many other students who are finishing school, I was challenged a little bit with what I wanted to do and very unsure about how a very big decision would maybe impact work and life in the future. And I thought an agricultural degree would be the right place for me because it did have that little bit of flex and diversity in there. If I chose ag and wanted to be anywhere along the supply chain, I could be anything from a banker to a consultant to something out in the field like an agronomist. So I really wanted something that gave me flexibility and I guess delay that decision down the track till I had greater certainty over what I wanted to do.
And Arnie, what made you kind of choose ag at school and then at uni?
Well, I wasn't really sure when I was in school what I wanted to do after until I moved to Barker, and I always had a bit of an interest in food production and sustainability, and ag ended up being one of my favourite subjects, one of the ones I enjoyed the most, but more so the business side of it, and then the food and agribusiness degree at Sydney kind of put both of those sections together, and so it was a pretty obvious choice from there, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, cool. So you all went and did the same degree at uni. I had stuff at uni that I hated certain subjects and other ones that I really loved. What were your subjects that maybe you hated first of all, you struggled with personally, and other really loved? Celine again?
Yeah, so I didn't actually do any maths in high school, and I didn't do any chemistry either. So doing subjects like statistics and accounting and a bit of economics was pretty challenging for me. But, managed to get through those. And my favourite subjects were just the ones that were really based around ag. So things like supply chain management, fresh produce management, new food product development. Those were really interesting. They were really tailored to suit an ag degree, and I learnt a lot out of them, and they had a lot of hands-on practical experience in the degree as well. So opportunities to head out on field trips to farms and things like that, and the markets, and yeah, that made it really fun and enjoyable.
Matt, what about you? What were your kind of hardest subjects at uni and your favourite ones?
My favourite ones were definitely the economics subject. I never had the chance to do economics at school. But having the opportunity to do that with an agri lens over it, so resource economics and again commodities, was probably my favourite. Least favourite, which will be a little bit of a laugh later on, was accounting. I never really liked accounting. I didn't do very well at it, and I think that tripped most people up as well, which is now, I guess, a bit ironic because I work for an accounting firm. But yeah, luckily able to learn something valuable from each of the subjects.
Arnie, what about you? What were your least favourite and favourite subjects?
Yeah, a bit similar. I never did any straight science at school. I didn't really like that too much. And so obviously the straight chemistry and really heavily science-based subjects I didn't love. And also obviously stats and accounting weren't up there. But my favorite ones were, again, we did some global like food security units, the food product development. I actually quite enjoyed the agricultural economics units we did. And I also did a couple international business electives, which I really enjoyed as well.
So you guys also had like some pretty significant opportunities at uni that kind of outside subjects. So do you want to share, what were your favorite things? Celine and Arnie, yours might be maybe similar, but Celine, do you want to start?
Yeah, so we did get some opportunity to do stuff outside of, the university walls. So Arnie and I, we both took part in a field school in Indonesia. So that was to research palm oil sustainability, and it was part of this grant called the New Colombo Plan grant. So it was all paid for. It was really interesting. We flew into Jakarta and we made our way all the way up to Medan and North Sumatra, and yeah, we got to learn about palm oil and smallholder livelihoods in a way that you just wouldn't get to learn when you're at university. So super eye-opening experience. And then also another opportunity was our internship. So the three of us, we all had to do a 3-month internship, and yeah, I'm sure Matt and Arnie will talk more about that.
Arnie, what about you next? What was your highlights of out of class, out of subject kind of stuff at uni that was good?
Yeah, Indonesia was definitely a really good experience, and it's something I wouldn't have initially done myself, and I probably wouldn't have done outside of a uni capacity, but it was such a good experience and it was really enjoyable. But I did my internship at Nestle in their quality assurance department within their technical and production unit. And so I got to do a lot of sensory type stuff. We had a trained panel that came in every week and I helped with that. And then a lot of just quality data stuff. I Skyped with the factory managers. I helped them streamline their systems and stuff like that. And so it was a really good experience and really enjoyed it.
Matt, what about you? I know one of the ones you might mention is a couple of years ago you were chosen as one of the 10 future young leaders for the Evoke Ag conference. What else? Maybe that and something else?
Yeah, so the Evoke Ag conference is the Asia Pacific's largest food and ag tech conference. So it has 2,000 attendees from all over the world, from Asia, America, and Europe. And I was really lucky to be chosen to be part of the Future Young Leader program. And that program allowed the participants to talk about something they're passionate about. And for me, that was on-farm climate change mitigation strategies. So I presented a business case around why greater investment in native food should be considered as a way to diversify on-farm revenue streams, in particularly looking at drought proofing and fire proofing as well as a management plan. And yeah, reflecting again on the internship, that passion I have for sustainable development in ag, I was able to pursue that further with Westpac, doing a strategy role there, looking at how you can develop sustainable financing initiatives to better incentivize best practice adoption in the agribusiness business lending portfolio.
Nice. So you've all got jobs, which is fantastic, and you all just kind of started recently. So do you want to share, you might name the company that you're working for, or maybe not, depending on what you want to do, but at least kind of a bit of an outline of your role in the early days of starting in a new job. Celine first.
Yeah, so I've received a role in the Coles 2021 graduate program. So it's a 2-year program and they have 21 different streams at Coles. So it's a huge business. You can work in streams like exports, accounting, finance, marketing. So my stream is Coles brand. So all Coles brand products that you see in store. And then that stream is divided into 2 roles. And one of them is the product developer and one of them is the product technologist. So I'm the product technologist, but me and the product developer graduate, we work alongside each other throughout the whole process. So essentially if Coles is developing a new product, which could be, just an improvement on an existing product, or it could be something totally different, The product developer kind of comes up with the brief. She does the outline. They take it to the chefs, because the chefs are all in-house at Coles, and they come up with a recipe, and then they take that to a supplier. And once the supplier's made it, comes back, and as soon as it's past sensory panel, that's when the job sort of gets carried over to me. So once it's past sensory, then I look at taking it out to different suppliers, see who can make it most efficiently. And then also it's about quality and upkeep after it's been launched, if that product is taken all the way through to launch. Making sure it fits with food safety standards and all of that, and looking at the marketing campaigns for things like that too. So a lot goes into the job. It's really exciting. One day a week I get to just do sensory. So essentially I'm in the kitchen with the chefs, and all the product developers at Coles just bring in their products, and we just taste them and we tell them what we think, and it's really fun and exciting. And I've only really just gone into it for 2 weeks. So, and currently I'm doing my in-store experience, which is, everyone who works at Coles needs to work in stores for 1 week. So I've been doing a little bit of help in the bakery and in the aisles. So it's good exposure, and I've really enjoyed it so far.
Yeah, cool. There's a lot more to it than people realize, I guess.
Yeah.
Matt, what are you doing now in your new role?
Yeah, so I just started up as a management consultant in KPMG's management consulting practice. I'm in the customer operations division, which is one of the 4 service categories, and within that I'm in the ops and advisory team. So in that team we look at supply chain optimization, operational excellence, and a number of other governance structure kind of consulting pieces around there. And I'm also already snuck my way into the agri team there as well, and we do a number of consulting pieces from everything from corporate ag clients through to government and industry bodies like the National Farmers Federation. I think the most exciting thing about being at KPMG is that our degree was a very industry knowledge based degree. So we learned a lot about the trends and how the industry works, but perhaps missed out on some of those core skills that you might get under an economics degree, whether that's financial modeling or other sort of finance type skills. So I think that the most exciting thing for me is now everything's at my fingertips. KPMG is very invested in their people. Their people are their assets, and they're very willing to give everyone a hand in learning and upskilling themselves within the business so they can provide better results to the client. So very excited to be able to get in there and pair my passion for agriculture with some of the capabilities that can help provide better insights for the client there. And I think one of the other exciting things is there's a big focus on sustainability consulting in the agri space, and KPMG is really passionate about driving better change in environmental and social performance in that space. And a lot of the clients are coming to us looking for us to build out a solution for them in terms of meeting stakeholder expectations, or even providing a new brief to industry on how to move forward with, I guess, better expectations around environmental and that social performance piece. So I'm really excited to get stuck in, and I definitely don't think I'd be able to get a role in KPMG. It's very competitive to get in, and I think ag's the little backdoor that I use to sneak in. So I guess that's another value for doing an ag degree, to differentiate yourself, because there are so many jobs and there's such a big need for people to be confident and literate in the agri and food space. And I think there's not necessarily enough graduates pursuing that opportunity, potentially because they don't know of the opportunities on the other side, like Celine, Arnie, and I have been able to get into.
Thanks, Matt. Arnie, what's your new role involved?
So I'm a graduate at Perfection Fresh Australia. I'm a graduate within the mangoes, melons and pineapple category. So I basically support the category with whatever they need, as far as whether that be the planning people, the supply people. I do a little bit with sales. Within the season, it's a lot of stock management, addressing quality issues and that type of stuff. And now that it's off season, as far as mangoes go, it's a lot of end of season reviews, streamlining the process, making it a bit more efficient, and having a lot of contact with the growers, and then focusing on the other products within the category. But Perfection Fresh they're a wholesaler, marketer, supplier of fresh produce, and they've got quite a range of their own branded proprietary products, as well as some other varieties they do for some other growers. And they just do a lot of the dealings with the main customers, Woolies, Coles, Costco, Aldi, stuff like that. So it kind of paired my interest in food production and sustainability and that type of stuff with like the business side of agriculture, which is what I was always more so interested than the science side. And so it's been really good.
Yeah, cool. So last question. You're all kind of grew up on the North Shore, thoroughly urban kids like I was. And what would be a kind of little bit of advice you'd give back to your year 9 or year 10 self, like, or, if there was someone else going through thinking about what subjects they want to do, what would you have liked to have known when you were, in year 9 or year 10 or something like that, thinking about what you want to do in the future, from what you know now? Celine first.
Yeah, well, I think we're all great examples of just knowing that if you do a degree in agriculture, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to end up rural. You're going to end up working, on a farm or, far away from, urban hubs. We all have jobs in CBDs or, close to that. And there is just so much opportunity in agriculture that goes beyond the farm. So the farm is just the first step in that supply chain. I didn't know where I was going to end up, but I've ended up all the way at the end on a retail side. And just my advice is don't stereotype the degree, don't stereotype the subject. It's a lot of fun. It's a really important subject as well because, we all need to eat and we always will need to eat. And it is a sector that is always going to remain relevant. So I think, going forward, it's a safe option and it's a fun option. So that's my advice.
Matt, what do you reckon for your year 9 or year 10 self, or someone in a similar position?
Yeah, my year 10 self, I guess if it's just advice to anyone who's leaving school, I suppose nothing can replace enthusiasm. There's definitely what you'll find out as you're leaving school is there's a lot more that you don't know that compared to what you can currently do and you currently understand. But I guess looking back at people who are beginning uni, leaving school, what really matters is what you're passionate about. And whilst it might not seem like there's a job or a role out there that fits what you're passionate about, whether that's sustainable development, helping people in agriculture find good jobs, or improving labour standards overseas, there's just about everything in ag that you could be looking for. So don't ever discount your enthusiasm or maybe even your skills to think, it's not enough to get the role that I want, because that'll carry you through into finding out what you really want to know and what you really want to pursue.
Honey.
Yeah, definitely. I think when I was doing ag at school and even throughout most of my degree, it's really hard to know what jobs there are on the other side. And as much as people say there's quite a few jobs per graduate in an agricultural based degree, it's kind of hard to know what those are. But there's such a range from, I guess, all three of us are examples from, fast-moving consumer goods, like fresh produce, whether it be banking, accounting, that type of stuff. There are so many different roles across so many different sectors, but it is at the beginning kind of hard to see what those jobs would include.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thanks for being willing to be interviewed, and